There's a particular kind of quiet guilt that only certain minds understand. It appears when you notice the things you once loved, now sitting untouched. Not because you forgot them, but because something in you moved on before you were ready to explain why. A project paused halfway, an instrument waiting in the corner, books bought with ambition still holding their first pristine pages. Each one feels like evidence in a case against yourself. Proof, you think, that you lack commitment, that you never follow through, that something inside you must be flawed. But that conclusion is premature. Modern psychology offers a different interpretation. What you call inconsistency may actually be a nervous system following its intended design. Not a malfunction, but a pattern. A mind that completes learning cycles quickly. A brain that hunts meaning, absorbs it, and then instinctively searches for the next horizon. If this feels like someone has been reading your internal monologue, it's because this pattern is far more common than most people realize. The fear of being unable to choose one path is not a moral weakness. It is the footprint of a specific cognitive configuration, one oriented toward breadth rather than narrow depth. A phenomenon known as multipotentiality. You are not undisciplined. You are not scattered. You are operating with a mental compass that points toward connection, synthesis, and exploration. And in a culture built to reward specialization above all else, that orientation can feel like a defect until you recognize it for what it truly is. Now, let's talk about why your motivation rises fast and falls just as quickly. Neurobiology describes something called the novelty dopamine cycle. When you begin a new pursuit, learning an instrument, starting a project, exploring a new field, your brain releases dopamine. Curiosity ignites, energy surges, possibility feels endless. This is the beginner's high. But for certain minds, the moment a pattern is understood, the reward vanishes abruptly. Not gradually, abruptly, like stepping off a cliff rather than descending a hill. Once your brain decodes how something works, it registers the learning mission as complete. Dopamine shuts off. What remains is not mild boredom, but an almost physical restlessness, a signal that says, there's nothing more to extract here. From the outside, it looks like quitting. Internally, it feels like completion. But if that explains why interest fades, it doesn't explain why pushing through feels so unbearably exhausting for you, while others seem to grind forward with ease. For that, we turn to a region deep within the brain, the anterior midcingulate cortex. Neuroscientists often call it the engine of willpower, the circuitry that activates when we force ourselves to persist through resistance. In some individuals, especially those with brains that process stimulation differently or high sensitivity to input, this region tires quickly under forced focus. What feels like mild effort to someone else feels like lifting a crushing weight to you. You are not avoiding effort. You are expending far more of it. You are not lazy. You are overexerting. But biology is only half the story. The deeper wound comes from a cultural narrative that never made room for minds like yours. You've heard the phrase, jack of all trades, master of none thrown like an insult, a warning to stay in line. But few know the original completion of that sentence. A jack of all trades is a master of none, but often better than a master of one. History, evolution, and psychology quietly agree. Specialists thrive in stable environments, but in worlds that change rapidly, specialization becomes fragility. When one domain collapses, the specialist collapses with it. The generalist adapts. The polymath evolves. The connector survives. Think of your interests not as abandoned roads, but as territories explored. Every time you stepped away from one pursuit and entered another, you weren't losing progress. You were expanding your internal map. Guitar led to rhythm. Rhythm led to pattern recognition. Patterns led to code. Code led to systems thinking. Systems thinking led to psychology. One curiosity opening the door for the next. This is how integrative minds evolve, not in straight lines, but in constellations. A specialist drills downward into one narrow well. A polymath builds bridges between wells. One writes software. The other writes software that understands human behavior. One composes melodies. The other composes melodies shaped by mathematics and emotion alike. What appears scattered from the outside is, in reality, an unseen structure forming beneath the surface. A quiet architecture of interconnected skills. A network of knowledge that only you can assemble. Because only you walked this particular path. So your past is not a list of unfinished stories. It is a library. Each chapter contributed a tool, a perspective, a way of seeing. Nothing was discarded. Everything was absorbed. You don't need to be the world's best at one thing. If you become proficient in several domains, you arrive at something more valuable than mastery. You arrive at originality, the rare ability to combine ideas in ways no specialist can replicate. That instrument in the corner was never a symbol of failure. It was a mentor. Those paused projects were not wasted effort. They were apprenticeships. So loosen the grip of self-judgment. A mind built for exploration will suffocate in a life designed for repetition. Your pivots are not glitches. They're features. The world is full of experts, but it is the connectors, the cross-pollinators, the perspective holders who move civilization forward. If this exploration has stirred something within you, share your thoughts in the comments or simply your presence. Thank you for walking this path with us today. If this journey has stirred something within you, reflection, awareness, even clarity, know that you are not alone. Until next time, take care of your energy and honor your intuition.